Okay. The chromatic catchers, talking washing machines, and a world where time is like a rainbow. And a character named Umbra who, honestly, I don't know about this Umbra character.
And yet beneath that whimsy, you find this really fascinating exploration of choice and consequence and really the nature of time itself. It's not just a children's story. It's one of those stories that makes you think.
It really does. So we've got these two 10-year-olds, Emily and Liam, and of course they stumble across this old washing machine in an attic.
And it's not just any old washing machine.
Right. It's a portal.
It's a portal.
To a place called Magic Land.
To Magic Land. And the way Magic Land is described, it's like the ultimate escape. Glowing trees, architecture that seems to defy the laws of physics, and a whole spectrum of colors representing different timelines.
It's like the author bottled up pure imagination.
You can practically feel yourself getting pulled in.
Right. But then we've got this creeping grayness threatening to drain all the vibrancy out of Magic Land.
Yeah, it's
more than just an aesthetic problem, isn't it?
It represents something much bigger, much more unsettling.
Yeah.
This temporal color imbalance, as it's called. It isn't just about the landscape turning drab. It signifies the potential erasure of different futures, the very possibilities that make Magic Land so unique.
Okay, so we need to unpack this idea of timelines. What does it actually mean for time to be a spectrum of possibilities in this world?
So think of it like this. In Magic Land, time isn't a straight line like we're used to. Imagine instead a prism splitting light into a rainbow. Each color represents a different potential timeline, a different way events could unfold based on choices made, actions taken.
So if this grayness takes over, it's like all those potential timelines, all those possibilities just fade to black and white.
Precisely. Yeah, it's as if someone took a paintbrush full of gray and just started painting over a vibrant masterpiece, erasing all the nuance and detail.
And that's what makes the stakes so high for Emily and Liam.
And that's what makes the stakes so high.
Speaking of high stakes, they meet Amara, the guardian of Magic Land.
Right.
And then there's Prisma, keeper of something called the Chroma Realm, made entirely of swirling iridescent bubbles.
The imagery in the story is fantastic. You can tell that the author had fun with it.
Oh, yeah?
But it's not all fun and games.
No.
These characters give Emily and Liam a pretty daunting task.
Right. They have to restore the chromatic balance using these things called chromatic catchers to gather spectrum shards.
Which sounds like a scavenger hunt. Yeah.
On a cosmic scale.
It sounds like a cosmic scavenger hunt, it does. And this is where I think that washing machine as a portal becomes really interesting.
Yes.
Because it's not just a random plot device. It represents a kind of rebirth, a shedding of the ordinary, and stepping into the extraordinary. Emily and Liam literally have to leave their old way of understanding time at the door.
They have to completely shift their perspective.
Yes.
In order to even enter this world.
It's like they're being washed clean of their preconceived notions, ready to be spun into this entirely new reality. But they're not alone, right? They've got these guides, these mentors, and then there's Umbra.
Ah, Umbra.
Yeah.
He's where things take a fascinating turn. Because unlike Amara and Prisma, he's shrouded in mystery.
He's a little spooky.
His motives are unclear.
Yeah. And he delivers a warning that throws a wrench into the typical hero's journey.
He basically tells them that their actions have consequences.
Yes, and not just in the present moment.
But across multiple timelines. Right?
Across multiple timelines, talk about pressure. It's like every step echoes through these unseen dimensions.
Which is interesting because that's not typically how we think about cause and effect.
Right, exactly.
It's like I make a decision now and it affects what happens now or maybe in the future. But to think that it could ripple backward in time or affect other timelines entirely.
It's a lot of responsibility.
That's a lot of pressure. And that's what makes this story so much more than just a quest to save a magical world. It forces us to confront the weight of our choices, the idea that even small actions can have ripple effects far beyond our immediate understanding. It really is amazing how much ground is covered in this story.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking shifting landscapes, gravity-defying architecture.
Oh, it's like Alice in Wonderland meets Interstellar.
Yes.
It's that skillful blend of whimsy and these complex scientific concepts that makes the story so compelling. The author isn't just throwing around these fantastical ideas. They're actually laying the groundwork for exploring these really profound questions.
Right. And it's not just like a paragraph here or there, like, oh, and by the way, this relates to like, you know, string theory.
Yeah.
It's really woven into the narrative.
It's woven into the narrative.
Take, for example, the shifting labyrinth.
Yes.
Emily and Liam find themselves in this maze that rearranges itself with every wrong turn.
With every wrong turn.
Like the very ground beneath their feet is questioning their choices.
Yeah. And let's not forget the riddles posed by those sentient crystals.
Oh my goodness.
Imagine coming face to face with a being made of pure light.
I can't even.
And they're challenging your understanding of cause and effect.
Across multiple timelines.
Across multiple timelines, yeah.
That's a lot.
Talk about a mind bend.
It would really make you question everything, wouldn't it? But I think what stood out to me was how this idea of choice playing out across different timelines wasn't just theoretical. Like, we actually got to see glimpses of the consequences.
Yes.
Right.
The story doesn't shy away from showing us those what-if scenarios.
Right.
Do you remember the moment when Emily has to choose between a path bathed in warm golden light and another one shrouded in cool blues?
Oh, yeah.
Each path represents a distinct potential timeline. And we're given these vivid snapshots of what could happen depending on her choice.
You know, it reminds me of that old adage, for every path not taken, there's a world where you took it.
Yes.
But here, it's not just a fleeting thought.
It's tangible. You're seeing it.
Yeah, it's a tangible reality. And that's what makes it so powerful, because it forces you to say, okay, what if I had done this?
And are you really okay with those what ifs?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because that's really what the story is pushing us to examine.
It really makes you confront the weight of your choices, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's that knowledge that every decision sends these ripples through time.
Through the very fabric of time.
Okay, but let's talk about Emily and Liam for a moment.
Okay.
They're just kids.
Right.
How do they even begin to process this responsibility, that their choices are having these far-reaching consequences?
That's where the brilliance of the character development comes in.
Okay.
We see Emily wrestling with these doubts, anxiety.
Sure.
She's terrified of making the wrong choice and inadvertently causing harm in some distant timeline.
Yeah.
And then you have Liam, who, despite his own fears, is determined to protect Emily and see their quest through to the end.
So it's like their strengths and weaknesses are constantly being tested against this backdrop of this extraordinary world.
Exactly. And I think that's something we can all relate to.
Oh, absolutely.
Even without the multi-timeline aspect.
Right.
We face choices every day. And sometimes it's those very choices that really reveal our true character.
So how does seeing Emily and Liam go through these challenges, knowing that even the smallest misstep could have these huge ripple effects, how does it change the way that they see themselves? How does it change the way they see each other?
Well, for Emily, it's a process of learning to trust her instincts.
Okay.
She starts out, paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice. But as she faces each challenge, she begins to realize that there's no one right answer.
It's more about understanding that every choice has a consequence.
And being brave enough to make that decision and then live with it.
And for Liam?
For Liam, it's about learning to balance his desire to protect Emily with respecting her agency.
Oh, interesting.
He wants to shield her from the weight of their responsibility.
Yeah.
But he also realizes that she needs to find her own strength in order to really succeed.
So it's not just about saving Magic Land.
It's about them saving themselves.
They're saving themselves.
Or at least discovering new depths to who they are.
It's like their own personal journeys are mirroring the larger quest of restoring balance to this world.
And I think that's what makes the story so compelling, because it reminds us that even in the face of these extraordinary circumstances, it's often our own personal growth and the strengthening of our relationships that truly matter.
Okay, so we've got these two kids facing impossible choices. A world on the brink of losing its color, and this looming sense that everything is connected across time and space.
Everything is connected.
What happens next?
That's where things get really interesting.
So we've got these two kids facing impossible choices, this world on the brink of losing all its vibrancy, this sense that everything is connected.
Everything is connected.
Across time and space.
Right.
What happens? Do they rise to the challenge?
They do, and it's in this final act that the story's themes of courage and responsibility and the power of even small actions, it all comes together.
It really resonates, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
So they've been gathering these spectrum shards.
Right.
Each one representing this concentrated burst of possibility.
Yeah, like a little spark of defiance against that encroaching grayness.
Yeah, like they're literally collecting pieces of a brighter future.
Mm-hmm.
But how do they actually use them? I mean, how do they restore the balance?
This is where the story gets wonderfully metaphorical.
Okay.
Because instead of this big, dramatic, magical battle, the climax hinges on this quiet act of creation. Guided by what they've learned from Amara and Prisma and even Umbra, Emily, and Liam, They use the spectrum shards to weave a tapestry of light and color.
The tapestry.
A tapestry.
Wow.
And it's such a powerful image when you think about it in the context of the story.
What does it represent?
Well, think about how a tapestry is created thread by thread, choice by choice.
Right.
Each strand contributes to this larger picture, just like every decision that Emily and Liam have made has shaped their journey.
And the fate of Magic Land.
And the fate of Magic Land, exactly.
So they're not just restoring a balance, they're actively creating something new.
They're creating a new reality.
Wow.
Thread by thread, color by color. It's about taking those small but significant actions, knowing that they have this ripple effect.
It's almost like a meditation.
It is.
On the creative process itself.
It is. It's beautiful.
And what happens? Does it work?
It does. As they weave this tapestry, the grayness recedes, color returns to Magic Land.
Like a breath of fresh air.
It is, but it's not just like hitting rewind.
Right.
It's not as it was before. It's something richer, more vibrant.
Even better than before.
It's a testament to the idea that even after loss, even after facing darkness, there's always that potential for renewal.
For creating something new and beautiful.
Something new and beautiful, and I think that's such a hopeful message.
It really is. It gives me chills.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But what about Emily and Liam?
What about them?
They've been through so much.
Right. How did they return to their own world after an experience like that?
Exactly. Do they just go about their daily lives like, oh yeah, no big deal, I just saved a magical world last week?
No, that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
It doesn't wrap everything up neatly.
It leaves you wanting more.
They return to their world, back to that attic, back to that washing machine, which is now just a washing machine again.
Right.
But they're forever changed.
Yeah, they carry the experience, don't they?
They carry it within them, like a shared secret. And the colors of Magic Land might fade, but the lessons they learned, those remain.
About choice and consequence and the interconnectedness of all things.
They're bonded to those ideas now.
And it makes you wonder,
It really does.
how will they move through the world now?
Right. Will they even see things the same way?
Will they look at their friends, their families, even strangers on the street, and just have this deeper understanding
A deeper understanding
of the delicate balance of things?
of how we're all connected, yeah.
Will they be more mindful?
More mindful of their choices, absolutely.
Knowing that even the smallest action can just send these ripples
Send those ripples out.
into the lives of others. And I think that's really what makes this story so powerful, because it's an invitation
Right. It's an invitation
to look at our own lives
your own choices
through a new lens,
with a fresh perspective.
to recognize that we have the potential
That we all have the potential.
to create positive change, even in just the smallest moments.
In the smallest, most ordinary moments.
It reminds us we're all weaving our own tapestries, aren't we?
We are.
Thread by thread, choice by choice.
The Chromatic Catchers, it's one of those stories that stays with you.
It really does.
It reminds us that imagination, it has the power to illuminate not just fictional worlds,
But our own as well.
but our own as well.
Wow. I love that.
Don't you?
I do. And you know what? I'm adding check dusty old appliances for portals to my to-do list.
Good. You never know what kind of adventure might be hiding inside.
That's true. That is true. Well, thank you for taking this incredible deep dive with us. I really enjoyed it.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.